Hello, I'm Lorette Legan, President of the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Chamber's Governmental Affairs Committee, I want to thank you for joining us for our Forum Onslow. Our committee works with government agencies on issues that affect our business community. We monitor legislative issues that impact local businesses. We promote partnerships between business, government, military, and education. And we use these forums to create awareness on topics that are important to our entire community, such as the election of those that represent us on the state and local level. We are pleased to have Duke Energy as the sponsor of this Meet the Candidates Forum. So at this time, I would like to turn the podium over to Millie Chalk, Duke Energy Government and Community Relations Manager.
Thank you, Lorette. On behalf of Duke Energy, welcome to Forum Onslow. Duke Energy is happy to partner with the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber for these important community forums. Today, our focus will be candidates running for Onslow County Commissioner. In these turbulent and uncertain world that we live in, we recognize that voting is a privilege, and being an informed voter is our responsibility. I look forward to an informational session as our candidates outline their priorities for Onslow County. Duke Energy has a proud tradition of leadership and engagement in our communities and is proud to sponsor Forum Onslow. Now on to our candidates.
Thank you, Millie. And now we will begin, and I'll turn it over to our moderator, Mr. Elliott Potter.
Thanks, Lorette. And, this is to me always, I've been doing these things a while, but the county commissioners, that's the granddaddy of them all right there when you start talking about local government and local politics. So very excited about being here with you. And I thank you for participating in today's forum for candidates in the 2020 general election for the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. This year we have 8 candidates that are seeking one of 5 at-large seats. On the ballot are 5 Republicans and 3 Democrats. We are missing one of our Democratic candidates today, Patty Diaz. But we are glad that each of you have made it. One little note here is that this year there will be a little bit of wrinkle in the election in that the lowest vote getter among the top 5 candidates will receive a 2-year term, and that's part of a plan that expands the Board of Commissioners to 7 seats. So the other 4 candidates will all be receiving 4-year terms. So that's how that's going to work out, and good luck to each one of you. Here's the format for today. And we've already gone on it before, but I want to go over it for the audience so they're clear on what we're going to be doing. This program consists of 3 parts: a 1-minute opening statement, a question and answer period, and a 2-minute closing statement. Each candidate has 60 seconds to answer each of the questions, and we will be rotating the order of questioning as we go through the program. At the end of the round of responses to the questions, and I'm talking about after we've gone all the way to the end, the candidates, each one of you have 2 rebuttal cards in front of you, and you can use one of those cards to add 30 seconds to your response as a rebuttal. Like I say, in the interest of time, we are asking that we are limiting those to 2 rebuttals to the program, so I suggest you use them wisely. Candidates, simply raise your card if you'd like to use one, and we'll recognize you again at the end of a full round. We'll have summations at the end. You have 2 minutes each for those. If there's an issue you didn't get a chance to discuss, you'd like to see brought up, that's a great time to do it. I would remind you, despite all the things you might have seen on TV, this is a forum, not a debate. And what does that mean? It means that we ask that you address us here as moderator and the audience and not address each other. We also ask the audience to please refrain from applause during the program, and we will give everybody a chance for a round of applause at the end. And of course, we would love to see you adhere to these time limits. we're here to help you do that. I tell you, one of my philosophies in all these forums has been, we don't try to do the gotcha questions or things like that. Our purpose here is to sort of help you shine and help you get your message across. So that's what we're here to do. But we do ask that you follow the time limits. When you see a yellow light, that means you have about 30 seconds to end your response. We'll give you a yellow light with 15 seconds to go during the rebuttals. When you see a red light and hear a buzzer, that means your time is up. And what we ask that you do is complete your sentence. You might not be able to get the chance to complete your full thought. Just complete the sentence and let's go from there. And if you need a chance, maybe you can use a rebuttal card to finish that up. It can be awkward at times, but it's the best way to do it because I don't have to sit here and say, well, this sentence went on forever and that whole thing comes up. So I don't want to do that. And we don't usually have to. During your opening statement, and that's what we're going to go to first, and we will start with Mr. Royce Bennett and work our way down. During your opening statement, we ask each candidate to state your name, provide us with some background information to introduce yourselves, including maybe where you reside and your occupation. You can also, if you will, give us an idea about why you're running for office. Any questions? All right, well, let's move on. Mr. Bennett, you want to get us started?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Elliot, and the Chamber and Duke Energy. I appreciate this opportunity. My name is Royce Bennett. I come from a background of 14 years in law enforcement and 25 years as a business owner, small business owner right here in Onslow County. I'm married to Karen for 36 years. We have 2 children and 3 beautiful grandchildren, and our daughter and son-in-law are now business owners in Onslow County also. I'm heavily involved in the community. Just some of my activities are deacon at Blue Creek Baptist Church. I'm chairman of the Salvation Army Board. I'm vice chairman and founder of Onslow Strong Disaster Recovery Alliance, and I'm on the founding board of the YMCA. I've worked in government, and I've seen how government affects small businesses. And I believe that in Onslow County, we need to focus on growing our economy, controlling our spending, and reducing regulations. We've made a lot of progress on that in the last 3.5 years, and I'd like to continue that progress. Thank you.
Mr. Bright.
Thank you, Elliot, and thank you, Chamber and Ms. Millie, for putting this event on. I think it's good that the people can see who they're put a face with the candidates, so it's really good to make sure we get this word out. I'm Jack Bright, seeking re-election for County Commissioner. I've been married to my wife, Robin, that's here in the audience for 42 years. I'm born and raised right here in Onslow County, so I'm kind of homegrown and know a lot about the county, know a lot about the county commissioners. I've been a commissioner for 13 plus years, and I retired as Deputy Chief of Police here in Jacksonville with 30 years of service right here in Jacksonville, so I'm really familiar with Jacksonville also. I'm a strong supporter of education and public safety. I think public safety is really a key now in today's environment. Always searching for ways to make things better and to save money with the county. It's not always easy with the budget shortfalls we have now, especially with the pandemic that's basically got us shut down. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you. Paul Buchanan. Thank Millie for being here. I've been knowing Millie for some time now, sitting on some boards that she sat on. I want to thank the Chamber. I'm Paul Buchanan. I'm running for my 5th term as an Onslow County Commissioner. I've been serving for 16 years for the citizens of Onslow County. I'm married to my wife, June, that's in the audience, for 20 years. We've been around each other for the last 30. I'm a former Jacksonville police officer captain. I have 51 years of police service to Onslow County. I have 3 daughters and 8 grandchildren, and they're scattered all over the place from Virginia all the way down to Wilmington, which is a little bit closer. I work at the college. I've been working at the college now probably on and off for almost 30 years. The first time I went there was in 1990. I served the BLET, which is the police academy, for 3 different terms. I did 17 years as the academy director. I'm still a director of law enforcement training, part-time at Coastal Carolina Community College.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Knapp.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Elliot and Kelsey, for this, and for you for hosting this forum. My name is Robin Knapp. I'm currently an Onslow County Commissioner. I ran for the position the first time in 2016, and I'm a retired federal agent from NCIS. I'm a former veteran, or I am a veteran, former lieutenant in the Air Force for 4 years before I came to NCIS, and I moved to Onslow County in 1990. In the audience is my daughter, Michaela. She came to sit for me, to support me, and I'm married to Kelly Glenn Knapp, who is a therapist in town and has a lot to do with opioid and mental health crisis intervention and things of that sort. So my focus on the last election was to ensure that we got some type of mental health crisis center up, which we did, and to not raise our property taxes. And I voted adamantly against raising property taxes, and that's my goal now, to be a fiscal conservative as far as our budget's concerned, but yet to stay within the mandates that's levied to us by our state. So please vote for me, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Coggin?
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. I am Velvet Scoggin. I have lived in Jacksonville since I was 16, and I'm a graduate of Jacksonville High School, class of 92. I met and married my husband, a retired Marine, here in 1999. We have 2 beautiful daughters who are also graduates of Jacksonville High School and are currently in their sophomore year and freshman year of college. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics and Master's of Education with Administration and Supervision and a doctorate in Theology. I have been in education for 14 years as a math teacher, a coach, and held several leadership positions while within a school. I am in my 20th year as a director of auxiliaries at my church and currently serving on the NCPTA Governance Committee and a member of the North Carolina Educators Association, National Association of Black Military Women, the NAACP, Kappa Delta Phi Education Honor Society. I am currently enrolled in the North Carolina Institute of Political Leadership, and I am running to ensure every city within the county is being served equally, bringing gainful employment to our local citizens, and to bring diversity to the board that is represented throughout Onslow County. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm thank you to the chamber, thank you to Duke Energy for having us here. My name is Walter Scott, and I'm running for county commissioner for the first time. I want to serve the citizens of Onslow County. I am very committed to doing that. I believe that we need to work as a team, and I'm excited about what Onslow County has got to offer. I truly believe that I can be an asset to the citizens, and I'll be open to any ideas that we have to make Onslow County better. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Sutton.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Sutton. I am a native here in Onslow County, and I've spent most of my life here, 25 years here in Onslow County. This county is my home, and it's not just my home. It's been the home of my family for many years. I have been an agent of change. Bringing about positive change is something in my DNA, starting back when I was a student organizer at the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I want to help build, along with the current commissioners, a bigger and better and brighter future for Onslow County by making sure that we bring in jobs, and not just any kind of jobs, well-paying jobs, so that young folks like myself can have a sustainable future here. You know, supporting education as well as improving our emergency planning, so in case when it comes hurricane season, that we are serving and protecting our citizen here in the county. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to Mr. Bright. You will be the first person to get this question, and we'll move down and then back to you, Mr. Bennett. How would you assess the county's response to COVID-19, and what would be your lessons learned?
Well, it's a moving target, as everybody knows. One day you get a report from the health professionals, it's moving in one direction. The next day you get conflicting report. We have a tremendously intelligent health department. Our health director has a degree in epidemiology, so we had her in place right from start with from a previous hiring. And they jumped on top of this. They had a plan immediately for any communicable disease, and we had them tracking, doing the contact tracing. We had a report that comes out. It was coming out daily, and now we've narrowed it down to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But the cases that we're having, our positive rate right now is 5% of what's being tested. We have a lot of cases, but with the number of tests that was tested, our percentage rate is really down. They do a good job of getting up with people, quarantining the people, sending them to get tested.
All right, thank you. Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you. It's a pretty easy question to answer. Our staff has been working very hard. We have the best staff in the country, not just in Onslow County. Our staff works very hard with the county manager. And one of the things that's unique about Onslow County is the 7 county commissioners are the board of trustees, basically, for the health department. We oversee the health department, everything that they do. You've heard Jack talk about 5%. Well, let me give you the numbers for today, and this is today's numbers. 2,260 positives, 1,907 are cleared, 25 fatalities. We don't want to have any fatalities, but we're at 25. 5% is what it is. The state average is 6.5%. We're doing very well on tracking it. We're doing very well on getting testing done, and the test is back. The biggest thing with Onslow County is that we have a good working staff, and without the working staff, we wouldn't be where we are today.
All right. Thank you. I want to read the question again. How would you assess, and this is going to Mr. Knapp, how would you assess the county's response to COVID-19, and what would be your lessons learned?
Well, I can tell you, from COVID-19 standpoint, I've been tracking COVID-19 very thoroughly, and you can read it on my wall. I put out the reports. I put out the reports every day, and then I put out the reports every other day as they come to me through our county manager, Sharon Russell. As far as I'm concerned, the staff that we have and the communication that we have with our BOC has been nothing but exemplary, I should say, because our director of health, she's been on top of this. She's been monitored. They've been working 14, 15, 16-hour days to get the right statistics. It's kind of hard, though, to get accurate statistics when the state statistics and the parameters change, and that presents a lot of problems. And a lot of people have complained about Governor Cooper and his stance and the restrictions that it places on us, and we have to deal with all those constraints. So it's been real difficult. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as what we did in Onslow County, we've done an outstanding job to navigate the minefield, so to speak, and try to keep people as healthy as possible and to keep them on their feet and to keep working.
All right, well, thank you. Ms. Croggan?
Hi, thank you. I think Onslow County so far has been doing a great job healthcare-wise, and nurses, EMTs, doctors have been on call 24/7, and I think they're doing a great job treating COVID-19. I think the early closes of school and maintaining the essential workers went well. However, I feel that the COVID-19 test should have been here earlier to kind of prevent earlier outbreaks. I also feel like wearing a mask, social distancing should have been enforced by government officials a little bit earlier. Even now, we have, like he said, an estimated 2,000 or more cases and 25 deaths. The number of cases are consistently rising and opening more businesses up, but I still feel like COVID is still here, and I think we need to raise our level of precautions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Scott, we're asking about the county's response to COVID-19, your assessment of that, and what lessons do you think might be learned?
I truly believe that hats off to the entire county staff. They have done a tremendous job on such short notice. When COVID first come out, it was totally unknown. So the county has took it and has moved so much further ahead than any other eastern county in the state. I have nothing but praise for our staff and what they're trying to do. They're trying to do as safely as possible. We're trying to open things back up as safely as possible. Yes, there's lessons learned, exactly what those are. I'm not a commissioner yet, but I assure you whenever I become one, the citizens are going to be knowing a little bit more than what the norm is now. And what they're doing now is a good job, but I like a little bit more the transparency.
Okay, Ms. Sutton?
I will have to also give kudos to our county staff for the handling of this. This virus, this pandemic has been unprecedented. So having to deal with that, having to essentially learn as we continue going and dealing with this virus, I have to give kudos. One of the things I hope that we learn, I hope at the county level that we learn, is that we have to be more proactive when it comes to these kind of diseases and these pandemics, because it's not the question of if, it's always going to be the question of when. So my hope is that there is an assessment when this is all over, and hopefully it's all over soon, is what we did right, what we did wrong, so that we can, the next time, we can have a better response, and that we are not having a reactive response, but we are having a proactive response.
That's good.
Mr. Bennett?
Elliot, I certainly agree with what I've heard from our other commissioners. I would want to say that, you know, just like after Florence, I'm sure that we will have an after-action plan after this thing's all over, and we'll see what we may have done that we could have done differently. On the other side, though, they also serve on the hospital board, and we partnered with UNC Health a year and a half ago as a management agreement, and using their resources, we've been able to track what's been going on with COVID in Onslow County and prepare the hospital for any needs that we may have had. I think we've had about 11 or 12 maximum number of hospitalizations at one time during this COVID incident. This morning, we had 7 hospitalized with COVID. So we've controlled the outbreak in Onslow County, and we've prepared our hospital and our health department for every contingency that may happen. I think we've done a great job.
We're going to start this round of questioning with you, Ms. Sutton. And instead of going back in this direction, I'm sorry, Mr. Knapp, you got a rebuttal or something to add for the last question about COVID-19?
Yes, sir. I just wanted, there's 2 things that I've heard from a couple of the candidates, and I want them to understand. Number one, when we entered this COVID-19 pandemic, there was a lot of unknowns. And the fact that our staff adapted, adjusted, and made the necessary changes to get our community on board and get tested and do the right things, I think because of their efforts, we have lessened those effects. So, and then when you talk about transparency, you can't get more transparent than what we're doing as far as county government. Reports are going out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It used to go daily because I know I put those reports out for everyone to read, and we try to give as much accurate information as possible so the citizens are aware.
Okay. Anybody else before I move on? Okay, back to Ms. Sutton. Outside of COVID-19, what do you see as the most significant challenge facing Onslow County, and what solutions would you propose to address it?
Yes, I think one of the major issues is the lack of jobs and the lack of economic development here. And it's not just the lack of jobs necessarily, it's the lack of well-paying jobs, especially for young folks like myself. It's very hard to find a job here that can sustain my life. You know, rent here is somewhere for 1 bedroom, $700 to $900. And if you're making $10 an hour, you can't live on that. You can't pay your rent. You can't buy groceries. It's hard. And I know because I've had to do it before. I think one of the ways to do that we can bring businesses and also bolster our small businesses here is improving our infrastructure. We do not have deep water channels. We do not have a direct highway connection, and we don't have railways. And I see my time is coming up, so I'm going to, I will throw up my rebuttal card in a minute, but to keep talking and to continue, moderator, is it okay?
No, we've got to go ahead and finish the round, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, well,
Okay, we'll do it. Mr. Bennett.
Yes, addressing the economic development issue real quickly. I do serve on our economic development partnership, and we're working real hard to bring businesses into Onslow County. We brought hundreds in over the last few years, and I don't have time to detail all of that. But as far as some of the most pressing issues that we have in Onslow County right now are in my opinion, fire service, which is very, very challenged right now. Our landfill expansion, which is coming up in the next few years, we have to address the landfill issue, and the unfunded state mandates that they keep bringing down from the legislature. You know, the state can balance their budget by passing costs down to us, and we have to figure out how to fund those. So those 3 issues are things that we have to deal with in the immediate future, in my opinion.
Okay, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, the real impact for COVID-19 was the businesses that were shut down and the closing, and the businesses that weren't able to open. And that right there indicated to me and to the board, we were really concerned about budget shortfall. 80% of county budgets are mandated, like Commissioner Bennett said. We have no discretion on 80% of our revenue that we get. We only have 20% that we have discretion over. So with that being said, and budget shortfalls, if it wasn't for the stimulus checks that everybody got and our military here that was paying still getting paid, there's a lot of people and still a lot of people out of work. There's a lot of people that don't have jobs. There's a lot of situations where businesses were closing that probably won't ever open again. And we probably won't see the results of this until January of next year.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Buchanan.
One of the things a lot of people don't understand is government does not create jobs. Private industry creates jobs. Government can only put resources in place to encourage private industry to grow and locate here. Our regulatory officers can provide good customer service while enforcing laws and ordinances. The county can push the state for better transportation connections such as roadway, rail, ports. The county can continue to develop its working relationship with the Department of Commerce to get the leads on industry that might be interested in moving to North Carolina. We're dealing with that at our park. We're trying to get more jobs to come into that thing through the commerce and through economic development. The problem with it is you don't have rails, we don't have highways, we don't have a port here, so it doesn't give us the opportunity to give larger jobs. Where's the jobs at? Small business. Small business is where it's at. Retail is large here. You can go down Western Boulevard and tell how large real estate is. Going down that particular area with real estate and the actual growth of that particular area, and I got myself as tongue-tied as can be right then, but I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Knapp.
I've heard a lot of good opinions here, but I want to echo what Commissioner Buchanan said, as far as that we don't create jobs as county commissioners. We present the atmosphere. We try to create the atmosphere to bring industry in here. But here, the main thing, though, for me, which is key, especially with COVID-19, is taxes. That's big on everyone's priority list, and people seem not to remember that we cannot afford to raise our property taxes. We have to be fiscally responsible for what we have and what type of revenue that we have, and we have to find a more equitable way as far as taxes are concerned. We focus in on the law enforcement agencies like the Sheriff's Department and the schools, those are our most important resources by far, without a doubt. But you can't expect 60% to 70% of the property owners to pay 100% of the bill. We need to make it more equitable by trying to push for a sales tax increase so that everybody has to pay into the tax across the board equally, because it's just not fair. And we have to give a break to the small businesses so they don't pay those huge tax penalties and taxes that they have to do to keep their businesses afloat.
Thank you.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
I sure will. Basically, the question is this: outside of COVID-19, what do you see as the most significant challenge facing Onslow County, and what solutions would you propose to address it?
Okay, all right, thank you. I feel like, you said outside of COVID-19 and due to COVID-19, I feel like a lot of, as they were saying, a lot of businesses have been closed or are already in like a tight spot in the beginning with. However, I feel like a lot of the North Carolina demographers have projected that the next three largest cities would be Raleigh, Charlotte, and Wilmington is right next door to us. So I feel, and that's because they have a nice healthcare system and they have technology. So I feel like what Onslow County needs, other than also with jobs, because I also agree with Alicia that we also need to bring jobs here, that we need to look at our broadband services, look at our technology system, look at our healthcare systems, and improve on that aspect to help bring to make us an asset for those bigger or larger companies. I think if we improve those two systems, that the bigger jobs and larger companies will want to go here outside of the railroads and the I-40 that we don't have close by. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scott?
Well, the way I see it was that we've got to get the smaller businesses back. Onslow County was built upon the mom and pop stores that we used to have. There's not many of those left, and I truly believe that the income and the tax base will relieve some of the burdens that the taxpayer has. Just like Commissioner Bennett stated, first responders and the law enforcement is near and dear to my heart. I've been on both of them. And we need to support those activities, and they're going to get more and more expensive. The school systems and stuff that we have here, we got a fine school system here, and we're working together as a team throughout the entire county, and we need to keep doing that. But the school system I'm really concerned about some areas there, but I'm also concerned about other things that's going on. Thank you. Boy, that went fast.
You guys are doing a good job. Ms. Sutton, I believe you wanted to add to yours.
Yes, sir, and I apologize for
No, that's
that.
fine. Go ahead.
I apologize. And just to add with this, I think, I understand that it is not the job of government but to create jobs, but to, foster that environment to do so. And we have to, by improving our infrastructure. In a report done by the can't speak today, Entrepreneurship Council, small businesses have fostered in America because of railways. America actually has the best railways. So why not bring businesses here, but give our small businesses a chance to grow, prosper by,
Thank you.
yes,
All
I
right, thank
apologize
you.
for going over my
That's
time.
okay. Let's start with Mr. Scott, and we're going to work our way down this side of the table and come back around to you, Mr. Bennett, and then go that way. How does the impact of social media affect public service these days? Specifically, I guess now we're asking about the role of county commissioner. How can local elected officials put social media to good use?
Everywhere you go today, everybody's got a cell phone. I believe that social media has a two-edged sword, and it can be positive or it can be negative. Lately, it's been extremely negative. It seems like no matter what is done, somebody's trying to twist exactly what's going on. I truly believe that social media can be used in a positive manner to get the word out on what we need to work on immediately. It's a great tool, it's a great form of communications, and we need to work closer together to make everything happen.
Thank you. Ms. Sutton?
Well, a lot of our world and a lot of the news we get is from social media, especially people my age. We're on social media all the time. I know 18 to 40, everyone has an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook page, and that's where a lot of information is disseminated. One thing we have to be careful with is social media is disinformation and making sure that the information we are putting out it is reaching everyone. And two, that it's truthful information. I definitely don't think our county has an issue with that, but just saying that. And also, social media, while there is a lot of negative aspects, it is also a beautiful thing. It brings folks together and honestly is at the cornerstone of a lot of industry and businesses. I work in campaigns, and honestly, social media is a part of my job. So I think that is a way that we can use as communication for our government.
We'll go back around to you, Mr. Bennett, and I'm going to repeat the question. How does the impact of social media affect public service, specifically in the role of a county commissioner? And how can local elected officials put social media to good use?
Well, I think the disinformation on social media is definitely an issue, and I would encourage people when they see things on social media that they question, to go to the source. Go to the source. You can go to my Facebook page, Royce Bennett. You can go to Onslow County Government Facebook page. You can go to the City of Jacksonville Facebook page. You can go to Onslow Memorial Hospital Facebook page. Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development Facebook page. They all have Facebook pages, and we need that to educate the young folks. I'm a little bit older. I had to get dragged kicking and screaming into the Facebook social media scene. But I try to keep my Facebook page up to date. I try to give relevant information and factual information, and I'm willing to talk to anybody at any time if they have questions about something they see on my Facebook page or my website. My phone number's there. You can call me, you can send me a message. We need to use it for communication because that's what it is.
Okay, Mr. Bright.
Thank you. I think social media, if it's used properly, is a really good tool. But some of the things I've seen has just been keyboard wars, and once that starts, people that prints one side of the story. Everybody wants to be a journalist, and they don't show both sides of the issue and only hear one side of the issue, and a lot of the stuff is just pure lies and pure facts. You won't see me posting anything other than happy birthday or maybe something that I've done, but I don't get on there and respond to the social media because I think people just look at it as a way to slander people. I've seen that a lot with some of our other elected officials, and it's just not a good media if it's not used right. But if it's used right, it could be a good tool to get the word out about. There's been some really good information that's come out, and I think if it's good information and factual, I'm all for it.
Mr. Buchanan.
Well, it's very well needed when it's used properly. And let me give you a good example of that. The 2020 census, and I know everybody in here is 2020 census, we're at 75%, I believe is where we're at right now. And the key to it is that the city of Jacksonville and Onslow County government went together and we did our ads. We put ads out on G10, we put ads out on Facebook telling the people, the public, that there's nothing wrong with the census. Some people think it's fake, some people think it's false, and they think it's just not right, it's incorrect. But what we're doing is trying to educate the people through the social media, and we're doing a good job through G10, and we're doing a good job through Facebook. And what's really important is getting the good information out and the facts. And what we've been seeing through our side of the house now, through our Facebook and our social media, has been outstanding and doing a very good job.
Okay. Mr. Knapp.
Well, I think social media is a double-edged sword. It's good and bad. But speaking of the good part of social media, it is a way to be transparent as an elected official. And if you're an elected official and you put your name out there and you have a page, then you're susceptible to, all types of comments and whatever it might be. But that's why you put it out there, because you're transparent and you let people see. And people are going to have various opinions, and that's normal. Everybody has their opinion. It only gets bad when people start to take things personal and make personal remarks. That's when it gets really bad. And I don't think there's any place for that on social media. But if I understand your question correctly, as far as being an Onslow County Commissioner, social media is very, very important. It's a quick way to reach out to the community, to let them know that you're human, to let them know, to give them the information that they need, like the COVID-19 reports that I put out. People read that. They really read that, make comments, and send emails. So it's very important for social media if we use it the right way. And I think it benefits individuals in politics as well to put themselves out there and let them know that they can be accessible, they're transparent, and you can talk to them.
All right, thank you. Ms. Scoggin?
Yeah, I guess I'm last. So I don't want to echo what everybody already said, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I guess whoever is behind that key, you determine how you want to be represented through social media. Social media is a great communication portal. It's like he said, Mr. Knapp, it's a great way to promote transparency, to be transparent. As a candidate, I've used social media my entire campaign because of COVID. We couldn't go out and, talk to people, touch people, and campaign the way I wanted. So I used Zooms. I used Facebook Lives, and I was able to reach the people in our city, to reach people beyond our city. My family's been able to contact me through social media and give me thumbs up for running. So it just depends on how you use it and who you're trying to reach, who's your audience. So whoever you're trying to reach, that's what you want to put out there. You put things out there to promote safety, positivity. I'm out of time, so thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Buchanan. We'll work our way around the table again. Mr. Buchanan, if you were able to increase funding for county programs, departments, or projects, what would be your top priorities?
Well, my top priority right now is a sports complex. But let me explain something about when we try to do something as a platform. One commissioner can't do anything.
That's right.
There's 7 of us. Must have 4 of us to be on board with any type of project. We're looking at a sports complex right now. We're trying to give more to the public, trying to give more to our children. We need more for them to do this. It is a good opportunity for us to do it at Burton Park. And we're looking at a lot of other facilities. There's a joint task force that's working on that. The city and the county are working together with Mike Lazar, myself, Tim Foster, and Bob Warden. We're looking at that particular issue right now because we have everything else in the county is working pretty well. It's doing very well. We've come a long way, and I can tell about that later on all our projects we've done for the last 12 years. That it's been good times for Onslow County and what we're doing for the community.
Okay. Mr. Knapp?
I agree with Commissioner Buchanan. We have a great working relationship with our current Board of Commissioners, and we've stepped out and started working with the City Council the county commissioners of Carteret County and Craven County and some private industries. And he's absolutely right when we talk about a sports complex. That's where we need to focus our attention. You know, initially in the beginning in 2016, they said you'll never get a mental health crisis center up in 3 years, not during this term. Guess what? We pulled our resources together. We got other people involved, and our crisis center is up and running in 3 years. Okay, and they're having great successes with it, a facility that's much needed here in Onslow County. So I guess Paul and I kind of have the same philosophy. Don't tell us no, we can't do something, because we're going to turn around and do it. And that's what it takes. It takes a joint effort from the governments. It takes a joint effort from the private citizens to get things going. And a sports complex, however you shape it, is going to generate much needed revenue for this county, and it's going to benefit all the citizens here.
Thank you. Ms. Scoggin?
Can you repeat the question, please?
I sure will. If you were able to increase funding for county programs, departments, or projects, what would be your top priorities?
I want to agree with what the other two candidates have said. I do think that we need a multiplex, some kind of recreational thing, because kids need a place to go. I feel like a lot of kids, they're hanging out on sidewalks at the Walmart. You know, you go at night to go shopping, and you see young teenagers hanging out at Walmart. That's no place for teenagers to be. They're looking for something to do in their age. And we have the skate park that's been closed. So I think like a multiplex recreation center that can be converted for concerts to things that we would need for conventions would be ideal for everyone. But as an educator, I also feel like it's hard to prioritize the needs of citizens. So it's hard for me to prioritize the needs of my students. I have to make sure that I meet them where they are. And I feel like as a board, like he said, we work in conjunction. We need to make sure that we're prioritizing everything, the needs from safety for the kids, education, healthcare. You can't put one thing before another. So I think that, because they all, like they say, they all work in conjunction. Education, healthcare, law enforcement, safety for our kids, they all work in conjunction. So we must make sure that we prioritize everything in one.
Okay, well,
Okay.
thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Scott?
I've got to echo the same words. And as you well know, that I've been extremely involved in making every meeting that I can with the county commissioners for a long time. I'm totally on board with the sports complex, and it's near and dear to my heart because I am an active National Federation of High School referee for football and wrestling. So I'm very involved in the younger community in our county. I'm open to ideas. I also believe that we need to get the rest of the municipalities and stuff and get them on board with what's going on. And I know for sure that Mr. Buchanan, the current commissioner, that's him and Commissioner Foster, is working extremely hard to make it a combined effort. But yes, we need more activities. We need more, we need some more ideas. And we need to keep the tax burden off the people.
Thank you. And Ms. Sutton?
Yes, I do agree with the creation of a sports complex because that, again, that would bring in jobs, revenue, and so forth. I also believe we need to bolster our healthcare services that we provide in this county. It is awesome that we have a crisis center because we, in Eastern North Carolina, not just in Onslow County, are in the middle of an opioid crisis. So we have to now go from the crisis center to a long-term solutions. Because addiction is not a 100 millimeter run. It is a 10K marathon, and we need to make sure we are supporting our residents here that are facing this as well, and also supporting education, because if this pandemic doesn't teach us anything else, it is that our educators, our staff, they are awesome at what they do, and especially having to deal with all the hardships this pandemic has brought.
Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Elliot. I would agree that a sports center is important. All the studies show that we're losing revenue to other counties because we don't have a sports complex. But I would just note that as a county commissioner, we have to be wide open to a whole lot of things, and the sports complex, like I said, more immediate issues are going to be fire service, emergency medical service, sheriff department funding. So we have to look at a whole lot of different things at one time. And while we can all work on a sports complex, and that would be a great asset to Onslow County, we have to make sure that we balance that with all the other needs of our citizens. Thank you.
And Mr. Bright?
Thank you. I think, we need to expand the, detox center. Everything related to substance abuse as far as drugs, alcohol, mental health issues, it all goes back to mental health. It taxes our sheriff's office, it taxes our, EMS, it taxes the Onslow Memorial Hospital, and it just adds cost to doing business because those folks has to be treated. They need to have a treatment facility, and I think that expanding our detox center would be one way to use additional funding. Another thing that we have is we have 27,000 students here in Onslow County. We just built or are building 2 schools right now to accommodate the expansion of the classrooms, $60 million, and the school board is telling us they need 5 more schools. So that's going to take money. That's going to take dollars. We're going to have to find a way to fund that also.
Okay, and I believe Mr. Buchanan has a rebuttal card up.
I'll do it real quick. We have a mountain bike trail that's going to go out in Burton Park. That was approved by the commissioners on the last meeting. But the other thing is with the sports complex, we can use a lot of tourism money. That is not taxpayers' money. So we'll be using tourism money. We don't know how much of that we can use. There might be some tax money, but we're pretty sure there'll be a lot of money will be coming from tourism money to do that. And the shell building out there can actually be used economic development for a sport complex.
Anybody else? Okay. Ms. Scoggin, I'm gonna open up with you this time.
I'm not.
But you're okay with your card, but.
I am. I'm gonna
You get
hold.
first crack at this question.
Okay.
And we will, we'll move down this way this time and then back around. So the question is, let's look at the flip side of that.
Okay.
That we just talked about. If the county were facing a budget shortfall, what methods would you support to address it?
I think I would. Budget shortfall, which you say we already have. So, I think I would try to increase sales tax, not property tax. Cause sales tax, that's money we can get off of, we bring those tourist people in. We could just increase, the sales tax, and when they come in and purchase, that's revenue that we could bring into the city. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Knapp?
And number one, sales tax, we can't increase sales tax as commissioners. It has to come from our representatives from Raleigh. The only thing that we can increase is property taxes. We have to address them. We have to lobby to get their support to like a 1/4 cent or 1/4% sales tax increase. That's what we're trying to do to make that more equitable. But when you start looking at the budget, okay, it goes back to what I said back in 2016, and what we've tried to do as a board is you've got to analyze the needs versus the wants. You're gonna have to really make some cuts, okay? The easy way to do that is to raise property taxes. I'm not about raising property taxes, and I adamantly stand against that. So we have to go within our budget to make sure our sheriff's department is funded in our schools for sure, because they're 80% of our mandate. But we have to look within ourselves and make the decisions, hard decisions, whether it be nonprofits or other programs that we're not getting the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak. And we have to make some hard choices. And that's how we have to internalize and regulate what we try to do in terms of a shortfall.
Thank you. Mr. Buchanan?
Well, the biggest thing is that most people don't know what a penny's worth. A penny worth in Onslow County, 1 cent on a penny on a tax increase is $1,471,633. That's what a penny's worth. 1/4 cent sales tax is worth $6,037,257. That's a lot of money on a 1/4 cent sales tax. The problem with the 1/4 cent sales tax is we got to get our legislators to pass in Raleigh, but we have not a full consent from that board to help us do that. So what we're hoping on doing is maybe when we get a new senator up there, nothing against Harry Brown, because Harry tried to do it, but now with Mike Lazar, we're hoping Mike Lazar will be our next senator. If Mike can get in there, maybe they can get it to where the Onslow County Board of Commissioners can get it on a referendum. If we can get it to a referendum, the people will vote this in like they did, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago. We took 2 pennies and rolled it back on the tax base. 1 penny went to public safety and 1 penny went to the education.
Mr. Bright?
Thank you. We went through this during the first stages of the pandemic. We didn't know where our regular funding was coming from. We don't know what kind of shortfalls it was going to be. So the county manager, Ms. Sharon Russell, and with the board's consent, we froze all the unnecessary, unessential, new hirees. We weren't hiring anyone. That's finally opened back up somewhat now. We also put off buying all the, big ticket items. And we, discussed, the possibility of down the road having to have furloughs. 20%, I mentioned it earlier, 80% of our budget is mandated, 20% we have discretion over. So we don't have much wiggle room for, spending. Our wiggle room is parks and recreation, our library, the museum, the animal services. That's what we have discretion on, but we couldn't afford to reduce those right now.
Okay, thank you. And, Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Elliot. You know, a few years ago, we reduced our county spending by almost $1 million. It was some hard cuts that we had to make to do that. It's tough to cut the budget when so much of it is already mandated. And I totally agree that property tax is the worst way for Onslow County to raise taxes. I have a picture here. If you can see it, this is the taxable portion of Onslow County. 40% of our land isn't taxable, so it's totally unfair for those who live in that dark area on this picture to have to pay for all of the services in Onslow County. I'd love to see our legislature support us in an effort to change our sales tax so we can collect some more revenue from that. But I will do everything I can in my power to make sure that we spend our money on needs and not wants. And if we can cut where we can and move on from there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we'll swing around here to Ms. Sutton.
Yes, sir. What I'm saying it might be a little bit unpopular, but I think that it comes from a mixed bag of things, you know, having that sales tax, but making sure that sales tax, you know, for the representatives up in Raleigh is not burdening our lower income residents, because oftentimes sales tax does that, because it is a regressive tax. Also, I do think, and I know this is unpopular, having that slight increase in property tax, and also cutting the fat in budget where we can, but not cutting so much that we get rid of essential services that, while we might not see it as essential, but other residents in this county might see these services that we have are as essential.
Okay, thank you. Scott?
80%. We've heard it from several different commissioners.
Right.
I am not one that is going to raise property tax. I do not want to raise property tax. We have got to go with the non-essentials first, and it's going to be, I'm just one vote. And we've got to do it constructively where it doesn't rip everything apart that we've got going in the positive light. Lighten the load as best we can and keep our services to our citizens as much as we can. But raising taxes is not the way to go. Hopefully that we're going to have a new senator that's going to give us some assistance as much as possible. And I know that whoever's on that board, if we work as a team and throughout our county, it's going to be a positive outcome.
We have a rebuttal or addition, Mr. Knapp?
I just have a quick point. I heard talking about sales taxes are going to help or it's going to hurt the people in lower incomes. I understand that. But it's even more devastating, it's going to hurt if you raise property taxes. Okay? That's going to hurt them even more so than any type of sales tax increase. When you have a sales tax increase, you're not just talking about the citizens of Onslow County. You're talking about people from neighboring counties coming in here and shopping here and eating here, and the military people as well. They're paying those sales tax revenue, which is going to benefit the county. And that's what we have to be conscious of, and we have to make that determination.
Okay, and,
Can I
we
take
have-
30? Yeah, I also want to add to what I said earlier. I also think that we need to solicit more from the nonprofits or solicit those bigger businesses that we have here and get grant money, because Walmart offers plenty of grants, Target give us grants. I think searching out for that grant money can also help with the funding when the budget is low.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I believe, Mr. Knapp, you're first with this question, and we will move to your left, and to my right. If I can figure that out, I'm doing pretty well.
Your left or my right?
No, your left and my right. Don't confuse me.
Said his left?
What can the county, particularly in light of the COVID-19 situation, what should the county be doing to support small businesses?
That's a good question, because we're kind of in a quagmire with COVID-19. And as far as I'm concerned, we need to reexamine our budget. We need to reexamine some of the stringent tax, let me rephrase this. The burdens that we put on them for paying taxes, and try to give them some type of relief, because small businesses are different than big corporate businesses. Okay, big corporate businesses can suffer millions and millions of dollars of losses, but the little businesses can't. They just cannot suffer that, because their livelihood is on our patrons, the citizens of this county. And so we as commissioners, we have to be conscious of that. We have to be compassionate with that and try to lessen some of the burden that they may have on, like, property taxes or other types of penalties and fees that they may have to incur to keep their business open. Basically, I say we try to cut them a huss in some way, because the small businesses are the backbone of the United States, plain and simple. It's the backbone of Jacksonville. And these families live every day with their family business, trying to make ends meet as far as paying the mortgage and et cetera. And this should be one of our number one concerns.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Cotton?
And I just want to piggyback what he said. I agree that there's several small businesses here in Onslow County, and they're family owned, and they depend on their family to help for it to run, which some of them not even taking maybe a full paycheck. So I do think that we need to promote small businesses, support small businesses more by shopping there. You know, cut out some of these Walmarts. We have 4 Walmarts. We have a Walmart in every city in Onslow County. We also need to help give them maybe tax breaks, things like that. Yeah.
Mr. Scott?
I believe that's one area that we can probably put on the lessons learned. I don't think that we have a plan in place now to what we can actually do for any small business. And I think that's an area that we really need to look at. We need to get to the professionals and get some guidance and stuff, and we'll set up a plan for future events that's going to happen. Onslow County has been hit tremendously in the past several years with storms, the COVID situation, and everything else. And it seems like we're more in a reactive mode instead of a positive mode. To have our citizens to know that we're there to support you as best we can. We've got to put plans in action to protect the businesses and the citizens of our county.
I think what the best way we can do after all this is done, and when we're diagnosing what we did well, what we didn't do well, is seeing what type of relief we can give to small businesses, because they are the backbone. And I know that for a fact. My aunt was a small business owner. If you've been in this county long enough, you probably have heard of Brenda's Hair Affair. That was my aunt's shop. So understanding it and understanding that the burden they have had to face, the losses that they had to face, figuring out what can we do, and also figuring out if we can advocate to our state legislators saying, hey, our small businesses, they need help. We need money here. Help us out, especially with this pandemic. Our small businesses, and with Hurricane Florence, have taken a hit. So we must figure out, when we are diagnosing how we handled this pandemic, what relief we can give to our small business owners so that they can thrive here.
Thank you. And what we'll do is we'll work our way, Mr. Buchanan, and we'll work our way back down to the end.
It's interesting because you've heard me talk about small businesses, and I believe in them, and they're what the background of our community. The problem we have to deal with is, how do we go about this? I mean, you've heard 2 or 3 people up here say they don't want to raise taxes. When you start having to give money out, you're going to have to raise taxes. So my idea, what I would do is, and I think the rest of the board would think the same thing, is pass it on over to our manager, pass it on over to our staff, let them look at what can be done. Is there grants out there? What can we legally do? That's the catch to this. What can we legally do as commissioners? Because our hands are tied when it comes to a lot of money moving around. So how do we get these grants, or how? I think if you work with Sharon Russell and our staff to see what they can find out, what can we do legally? That's what we have to look at.
Okay, Mr. Bright, the question on the table is, what can the county do to support small businesses, particularly in light of the difficulties they might face after COVID-19?
Well, it would be a board decision, but there's no funding that would be put in place, without having board decision on any kind of funding. And I don't think nobody knew, there's no playbook for it, so we'd have to have some type of, agenda item where we could discuss, if there be any funding. Also, we might be able to, with board action, to suspend, permits. We might be able to ask the state to forgive, taxes, property taxes. Right now, that's regulated by state law that they are required to pay them and list them. So, anything we do might have to have other, agency approvals. So it's really it's like threading a needle to find, relief for them. The county didn't have anything to do with the closing of these businesses. These businesses were closed because of state mandate, because they were determined that they were non-essential. And that shut those people down, like the nightclubs, gyms, and some of the restaurants.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Elliot. I am a small business owner. I own several small businesses, and I'm telling you, what I want the government to do is get out of my way. I don't want you to give me money. I want you to get out of my way and let me do business and get done. A lot of the regulation that I'm talking about comes down from the state and federal government, so the county really doesn't control that. But the fact is, back in 1950, 1 in 20 businesses was regulated by the government, and by 2011, 1 in 3 businesses in our country are regulated by the government. This government regulation is what kills our small businesses. It's what allows our governor to hold our businesses hostage and shut down our economy over a virus. So my recommendation is, let's get out of the way, stop over-regulating these people, and let them get to work.
All right, thank you. And we will start with you on this question, and we will move around the table this way as we started with the very beginning. What are your feelings about the Confederate monument on the lawn of the courthouse? Should the county push through appropriate channels for its removal or relocation?
Thank you, Elliot. The monument there has been there for 50 years. I've listened for weeks and months now to people's opinion about that monument. I've heard both sides. We're not going to make anybody happy, whatever we do with that monument. But the fact is, we don't have the legal authority to move it. If we move it, it'll cost a lot of money. If we move it by law, we have to move it to some place that is of equal prominence as where it is now. And I don't believe that we could find that place in the same jurisdiction that it is now. So I think that the solution I've suggested is to ask the Business Diversity Council of the Chamber of Commerce to come up, to add it to the African American Heritage Trail, and to put another monument out there that explains and gives context to the monument that's there. And if you want to know about the African American Trail, I've got a preview of the African American Trail on my Facebook page. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bright?
Thank you. We are regulated, as Commissioner Bennett said, with the state law. The state law says we can't move it to a museum, can't move it to a cemetery, and if we move it at all, we have to get approval from the State Historical Society. And if we do get approval, if we were to get approval, then it would have to be located in a prominent place of display. And I feel like that if it's offensive there, and if we move it to another place of prominent display, it would be just as offensive over there. So right now, we're in the position to leave it like it is. We got a lot of people that wants it moved. We got a lot of people that wants it to stay. So right now, the county citizenry that I have talked to is pretty much divided and split on it.
Mr. Buchanan, what are your feelings about the monument on the lawn of the courthouse, and should the county push through appropriate channels for its removal or relocation?
You've heard from the last 2 commissioners, and you're going to hear basically the same thing from me. The key to it is that in 1950-something, it was put there. Today, I think it was 1965, part of it was removed. And I guess part of it was removed, I'm going back to the history from our individual that works at the museum in Richlands, Lisa Grice, and she says that there was 3 flags on it. I guess it was an American flag, a Confederate flag, and a North Carolina flag. Nobody knows where they are, and nobody knows where the cannonballs came from. They're on top of the thing now. It's nothing but a base. I policed here, Jack is policed there, Knapp has been through this community. I've walked by that thing many, many times, and I couldn't tell you until this came up what it said, because I had no idea it was a full monument. And I think that I've had just as many calls for it, against it, and basically there's not much we can do by legislation. They tell us we can't move it.
Mr. Knapp?
This is basically a moot point, plain and simple. This is not a decision that the commissioners can make. This is a decision that is left up to the state and to the people if they decide to push it to a referendum. So whatever action or whatever decision the state makes, that's a decision we have to live by. So there is no move right now, and there won't be a move right now with the county commissioners to push for anything more, because it is out of our hands, and that's the way it is. And so we just have to keep moving on.
Ms. Scoggins?
Written over the doors of the courthouse, it says equal and exact justice to all. The monument placed out front of the courthouse does not represent equality for all people, nor every ethnicity, culture, or tradition that is celebrated in the cities of Onslow County. To me, that monument is a billboard of racism. It is a constant reminder to our minority communities of injustice and slavery. Our Civil War history is important, but it belongs in textbooks, it belongs in a museum, not in front of a courthouse. It doesn't belong in any places for allegiance. After all, the courthouse is, what a courthouse is a place for justice, a judicial system. So we should have a monument that represents the judicial system, not a Civil War. Thank you.
Mr. Scott?
As the commissioners have said, that's sitting in the seats now, that's representing the citizens of Onslow County, we don't have that decision to make. Nor should a commissioner ever put his personal feelings, his personal feelings be the answer for the citizens. I personally view that monument as history. It means something. And until I'm instructed by the state, the legislature, to do something with that monument stays exactly where it's at. I've got respect for both sides. I love them. I love them to death, and I will never do anything that would hurt anybody's feelings directly. But that monument's been there since approximately 1961, if I'm not mistaken. And
57.
it's gonna stay.
Ms. Sutton?
Yes, sir. I am for removing and moving that statue to another place. And the reason I am for that is because it is a symbol of racism in the eyes of many African-American residents, including me. You know, I understand there is a state law and our hands are really tied at the commissioner level, but I do believe we need to advocate to our state legislator to remove this law, you know, because it makes it hard to remove these monuments. This monument does not represent Onslow County. Onslow County is a county that is moving forward into the future. It is not a county that is representation of racism, degradation, oppression, and we must move forward. I understand that this statue has been here forever, but we must move forward into a brighter future and make the necessary changes to do so.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think we are just about out of time for our regular round of questions. And so we're going to start with the 2-minute summations. And we will start with you, Ms. Sutton, and work our way back down the table.
Yes, sir. I would just want to thank again the Chamber of Commerce, the moderator, everyone, Duke Energy, for having this amazing forum, giving citizens a chance here in Onslow County to know the candidates, learn what we are about, and especially in this time of COVID. Also want to press, please, citizens, fill out that census. So much money was left on the table in Onslow County the last time, so please make sure you fill out that census. And also, I am running to build a better and brighter future here in Onslow County by building an environment that fosters jobs here to come here, not just any jobs, well-paying jobs. So young folks like myself, we have opportunity here so that we can raise our families here, so that we can live here for decades upon decades upon decades. Support our educators because God knows our education system, they need it, especially in this time of COVID, as well as improving our emergency planning so that in the case of hurricanes, pandemics, whatsoever, natural disasters, that we are taking a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. Again, thank you all so much, and I hope that we can all work together to build Onslow County up to a better and brighter future.
Mr. Scott?
Well, first off, I want to thank y'all for having us tonight. It's extremely important that you get to know the people that's running for your seat. The chair that I hope to occupy does not belong to Walter Scott. It belongs to you, the citizens. I intend on to represent you to the best of my ability. My office is always going to be open for any time that you need to talk. My phone number's already out there. It seems like at times that half the county or more has got it. And you can call me anytime. I've always got time to talk to the citizens. I'm asking for your vote on November 3rd and before if you elect to do the early voting. I absolutely believe in teamwork. I think that we can't do it by just one person. It's a collective body of 7, and you're going to put the people in that office on November the 3rd. And I just hope that I'm one of them. I thank you for the opportunity. Onslow County has got so much potential, but it's got to be done with all the jurisdictions together, all the mayors, all the elected officials, the sheriff, the police chiefs. We can't do it by ourselves. And if we do have any controversy at all, we should be able to sit down and discuss it and make sure that we understand exactly what it is. Some of the things.
You good?
Was it?
No,
Okay.
you were just 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. It made me lose my train of thought there. I thought I was already out of it. So, I think we got a long ways to go, but you know something? I really believe it can be done with teamwork. I'm asking for your vote again. It's Walter Scott. Thank you. The seat's yours, not mine.
Ms. Coggin?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town. We had one stoplight, one school K through 12th. We had one post office. I played on unpaved dirt roads. We lacked several economic and social opportunities, but we were a community filled with love and unity. And this is why I'm invested in Onslow County's municipalities and communities. Our children deserve the best necessities and resources. COVID has affected and interrupted our family lifestyles, causing loss of jobs, evictions, foreclosures, closings of businesses and schools, and limiting sports. I believe the solutions will come from us working together, not just for more money and for higher taxes, but from working together within, including all our citizens, our nonprofits. Onslow has a growing population, but we must keep up with those larger cities by improving our economic development through encouraging entrepreneurship and bringing gainful employment to our citizens, using our resources such as our nonprofits and community leaders, offering an equitable education system to every student, and most importantly, including and implementing our citizens in the county's decision-making processes by giving them timely feedback and being transparent with the information from the board. We must provide an environment where everyone's culture and diversity is embraced and celebrated. Martin Luther King stated, whatever affects one directly, affects all of us indirectly. Injustice everywhere is a threat of justice everywhere. So I'm asking you, Onslow County citizens, to vote for me. We must empower our communities to become more educated and involved in political effective change. The late Representative John Lewis encouraged, he said, the vote is still the most nonviolent, powerful tool we have, and we must use it. And I'm asking you on November 3rd, let your voice be heard and vote for Velvet Taylor Scoggin. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Knapp?
Well, there's a lot to be said. It's going to kind of be hard to do in 2 minutes, so I'll try to condense it. But one of the things is that it's still near and dear to my heart is the opioid crisis and the Dix Crisis Center. We've got that thing up and running in 3 years with hard work and with the dedication of our board and et cetera, and some other parties involved, and that's a key. But like I said, way back then, it was just a stepping stone. Now we're already looking at further treatment, more long-term treatment that is much needed. If you look at the latest Narcan or the opioid stats, since January to September, we've had 422 opioid overdose calls. Out of that, we've had 49 deaths. We've had 272 Narcan usage to resuscitate some of these individuals. We're averaging over 31 overdose cases a month within Onslow County, which equates to about an 11.6% death rate. And I'm sure it causes problems for Hans Miller as the sheriff, and he has to respond to that. So that's still near and dear to my heart. And those are projects that we're still working on the oversight committee, which I'm a part of, is to get our facility up and running and to find other facilities that can provide long-term treatment. The other thing that is really key to being a commissioner is being transparent. We talked about social media and putting things on social media. That's key and everything. But the question is, do you answer the people? Do you give them the information that they need? And that's what I've tried to do the last 4 years. During Hurricane Florence, during Hurricane Dorian, through other things, and through the COVID, I've been putting out these reports and putting out all the information that's necessary, whether you agree or not. It's necessary information to the public so that they can have that and use that to the best of their ability, and that's key to me. The other thing that's key is we have great chemistry on our board. Since we've taken over, or since we've been elected on 2016, this board has worked jointly with the BOE, the city council, and other community governments to an unbelievable level. There's full cooperation, and that's how you get things done, by working together, pooling your resources, and focusing in on the same goals. And so I'm really excited to serve for the next 4 years, and I ask that you vote for me to re-elect me as your county commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Buchanan.
Thank you. I want to thank Duke Energy, and I want to thank the Chamber. Onslow County is one of those places where it's a great place to live, work, and play. I've come a long way in the last 16 years as a commissioner. We've watched the growth, all the growth that we have in Onslow County. I think we're almost done with all the buildings we need to do. There's some buildings that we built, and the sheriff is sitting here right now, that was a problem many years ago when we built the detention center, but we have built a lot of stuff. When you talk about the airport and airport tower, our government complex, talk about the new courthouse, our new skills center that we give the land to the Board of Education. We have a skills center out there at the park. But one of the key things, I'm very passionate in what I do. I want to thank the people of Onslow County. It's been a privilege and an honor to sit here as a county commissioner. There's no false promises, just a firm commitment to serve the citizens of this county to the best of my ability. As a county, we face many challenges ahead. Navigating through the challenges requires seasoned, dedicated leadership. And you're seeing the leadership of the county commissioners sitting in front of you right now. Their leadership has done a lot for this community. No elected official is right 100% of the time. As humans, we do the best we can with the support of the people we serve. Your voice is an important part of the government of this county. I will continue to make sure your voice is heard. I do that all the time. Don't let anyone fool you. Those in leadership are often faced with making decisions that are difficult, very difficult. I make one promise. That promise is that I will continue to do my best to serve all the citizens of Onslow County. My goal is to provide the maximum support, vital service to this county, possibly within the realities of the resources available. I have a vision for the best potential of Onslow County. Let us work together to make our county the best that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bright.
Thank you. If I'm reelected, I want to make sure that we see the schools, the $60 million investment that we made in the 2 new schools that we're building now. I want to see those finished. And I'd like to see us address the overcrowdedness of our students that we have in school. We have all those mobile classrooms now, and we have to build places to put them, and we're mandated to do that. That's almost $64 million of our budget goes to the Onslow County Schools, so that's quite an investment for us. I want to work on expanding the detox center. Everything that's been mentioned here about substance abuse, mental health, that's all really expensive operations. So if we can address that, I think we can reduce the cost of spending and help our sheriff department, our EMS, because that's where it's being taxed the most at in our hospitals. I want to try to still pursue getting our legislators to approve, voter approval for the quarter-cent sales tax. And if we can get that in place, we may be able to reduce the property tax somewhat. If we can get that, that means everybody pays instead of just 60% of our population. I want to work on expanding our emergency operations center. That place over there is crowded, and when we have major storms and hurricanes, it has to be manned. And we just run out of room, and we need to expand that operation over there because it's really important for you to call EOC and have a response. I need your support and your vote to continue my service. Please, please go out and vote because that's your right. And also, fill out those census, the 2020 census. That's really important for the people of Onslow County. We are losing millions and millions of dollars by not having a proper count. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. Onslow County is a wonderful place to live and work, and I want to work to make it even better for my family and yours. And I want to do that by growing our economy, controlling our spending, and reducing regulation. Now, we've worked on that for the last 3.5 years. Our economy is growing every day. People don't hear a lot about it, but we've added 2 new boat builders down in Hubert, Winter Custom Yachts and Waterline Systems, and they're hiring people, and they're hiring at good salaries. If you know a tradesman, they need all kinds of trades down there. We've also opened, they've sold 11 lots in the Davis Industrial Park down in Holly Ridge. There's going to be a new garment manufacturer. We opened just a few weeks ago, Onslow Bay Boat Works. So we're building 3 different types of boats right here in Onslow County, and those are all good paying jobs. I want to control our spending by joining in partnerships with other government and private entities to reduce our costs in government. We partnered with the Marine Corps base. We're working with them to maintain their heavy equipment. It's going to save the county money and actually maybe generate revenue. We've also made an agreement with the Marine Corps base to treat some of our sewage. As Vice Chairman of ONWASA, we're looking for ways that we can provide sewer service to unserved parts of Onslow County, and we can work with the Marine Corps base to do that. And then for reducing regulations, one of the big things that we handle as county commissioners is zoning regulations. You know, we recently, I'm going to have to stop, but we work to maintain the lowest level of regulation. When I see a new ordinance or something come about, the first thing I look at is how is it going to affect our public? Can we avoid this regulation? So I'd ask for your vote in 2020. I'd love to continue serving Onslow County for another 4 years. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate all you candidates that you did a great job staying within the time limits. I have one last chance to thank our timekeeper, Kelsey Stiglitz, and she does a great job of keeping things moving. So I know that you guys did a lot of hard work trying to pack in a little bit of information in the time that we had. But thank you very much for doing that. And with that, I will turn it over to Lorette Legan.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the candidates. I appreciate so much your willingness to serve for the betterment of Onslow County. I want to thank the city of Jacksonville for the use of these facilities and the media services. And of course, our sponsor, Duke Energy. In the audience, if you missed any part of the forum Onslow, just check the listings for G10 for the rebroadcast times and dates. And folks, remember, your vote has power. Absentee ballot request forms are available online at the Onslow County Board of Elections website, as well as the dates, times, and location for early one-stop voting. Election Day is November 3rd, 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. at your local precinct. On behalf of the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce, thank you for joining us for our Meet the Candidates Forum, and we stand adjourned.